Okay, what I'd like to really get across there about maybe encouraging people to make, make their own films. It's not all that hard, and it's not all that expensive. I mean, you hear of small budget being $500,000 or $200,000. Not everybody in the world could get together $200,000, but $15,000, what we're working with, is quite feasible. You have to use just what's around you to best advantage. I'll give you an example. My last film, Night, I used the most interesting locations I had available. It was my cousin's garage, which had a 1937 Jaguar in it. Colonial Cemetery, which is also being used in Mad Wolf. And a small theater with a projection television. And everybody is around some very interesting locations or has access to them. And they just have to incorporate them into the screenplay. And luckily for me, for Mad Wolf, I live in a town that was very active during the Revolutionary War. And I'm able to use the actual homes that were there, during the time of Colonel Thompson and General Washington.
How did you get the technical support? Because it's amazing what you've accomplished with $15,000, and it baffles the mind how you were able to get that. Did it just fall into place?
Almost. I mean, luckily with Sal was, he had all these other talents to, build the sets and do the stunts. We also had Donna Drake, who very good at organizing the film and getting together extras, which is real hard to find. I use a lot of people I've used before in the past. Dylan Skolnick, a longtime friend and co-worker on a lot of films.
Now, how did you gather the financing for this? Because I know people have got to be asking, okay, so $15,000. Well, how do I get $15,000 when I barely have 100?
Right. I mean, it's $15,000. That's a lot of money, and it's not something you can ask a relative could you spare this money? I want to make my dream film. What I had to do, I had to go to an accountant, Paul Cantor.
With the film completely shot, editing begins. Here we see where Glenn used a standard filmmaking technique of shooting an entire scene in one wide master shot.
Fabric found its way into the Dunmore house.
Go.
I mean, his wife is not that fashionable.
Go.
Go! The only other I know of to have a gold ribbon is that barmaid who escaped from our camp. Stokely Dunmore must be hiding her. And where do I...
Then, for certain parts of the scene, he went in tighter for close-ups.
Dunmore house. His wife is not that fashionable.
Go!
Rare piece of gold fabric got into the Dunmore house. His wife is not that fashionable.
Go! The only other I know of.
His wife is not that fashionable.
Gold. The only other one that I know of with a gold ribbon is that barmaid who escaped from our camp. Stokely Dunmore must be hiding her.
And here is a rough cut of a finished scene. Sound effects would be added later.
He'll soon forget about this war.
I thought we would have gotten the replacement ammunition quicker. I thought Stokely Dunmore, upon hearing of the theft of the ammunition, would have somehow financed us in another way.
That reminds me, Stokely Dunmore, it is so pretty, very ladylike. I wonder how this rare piece of gold fabric found its way to the Dunmore house.
Go! The only other I know with a gold ribbon is that barmaid who escaped from our camp. Stokely Dunmore must be hiding her.
No, no, don't do anything stupid, no!
Also, you'll have plenty of flubs and goofs to cut out.
Your time of your rebel vow. Now, please, you must go.
Come on, sweetheart. Oh, God, I didn't know you...
To get a fire department to help out on a film, would you really need like an uncle in the fire department?
No, not necessarily. Sometimes you can get a lot of stuff just for asking. Just going to your community, maybe going to a restaurant, maybe going to your fire department, and saying, hey, we're doing this film and would you be interested in helping? I was overwhelmed by the response I was able to get just by simply asking. Most of the people said yes, and to our advantage, we've been able to get a lot of things donated that saved us a ton of money on our budget.
Once the film is edited, you can add sound effects and a music score, each put on their own separate track. Effects such as dissolves, fades, titles, and color correction can be done at a video editing studio. There are many video editing studios that will work on or near finished films for $60 an hour or lower. The post-production work on Glenn's previous film, Night, was done for under $900.
Okay, now the film is finished. All the music is where I want it, all the sound effects where I want it, including all the drum roll. All the titles and opticals are to my pleasing. So basically, as they say in the business, the film's in the can, or in my case, the film's in the videotape box. So I guess that means all the work's done. No, not quite. Now we have to get the film out of the can, or the video box, and into a theater. We arranged a showing of Mad Wolf at the Cinema Arts Center, a Long Island theater that highlights independent films, showcasing them as a pleasing alternative to big-budgeted multiplex fare. Anne-Marie Marino, who was an actress in Mad Wolf, put together a simple press kit utilizing stills and background information about the film's cast and crew.